Now, if you're like me and have an email account, basically meaning that you're a person living in 21st century, you're getting a lot of spam. And probably you're thinking like, email is dead. But our next speaker is going to give you a very different perspective. And it's going to show you how companies like Amazon have been utilizing email to generate their success. Now, all the way from Australia, on this stage is John I actually forgot the name.
McIntosh.
McIntosh.
No, McIntyre.
McIntyre. That was so awkward.
Thank you. That was hilarious. So I'm going to teach you how to spam people and make lots of money, basically. How e-commerce companies like Amazon, Bonobos, and Envelopes drive millions with email marketing, millions that you might be missing out on. So this is really just about email. It's going to be super practical. So it's how to actually do it. I'm sort of, instead of talking about high-level concepts that then you wonder about how to implement it, what to do about it, I want to show you exactly what emails you can send, exactly what words to put in those emails, when to send them out, and also how much money or how much revenue and sales it's going to generate for you. So if you want to tweet me, you can get me here, John McIntyre. That's the correct spelling with an underscore, actually with the underscore at the end. I couldn't get my name. And my email address. So if you have any questions, you can tweet me or email me, and we can have a chat. Now, you can probably tell from my accent that I'm from, obviously not from here. Some people have asked if I'm from the US, which I'm not. I'm from Australia. All the way from Sydney. I didn't come here this time, or from Australia this time. I actually came from Berlin. I've been in Berlin for a few months. Now, to start off, I just thought it would be fun to show you a little bit about Australia. Now, in Australia, who here has been to Australia? Put your hand up if you've been to Australia. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 3 people. So Australia is known as everything can kill you in Australia. That's what people say. When I mention I'm from Australia, oh yeah, that's the place where everything can kill you. And it's not bears, it's not tigers, it's not big animals. It's things like snakes and spiders, stuff like that. And people find that really scary. And the thing is, all these poisonous small things usually are hanging out in places like Sydney and Melbourne, the major cities. They're not way off in the jungle, on mountains, in the bush or the forest. They're, in your, in the backyard or in the garden when you're looking for tomatoes. So, but by far, the scariest thing we have is, who knows what a koala bear is? I'm sure you all know what a koala bear is, yeah? Yeah, of course. So this is called a drop bear. It's a close relative of the koala. Basically, these drop bears, the way they work is koala bears sit in trees and eat leaves. Drop bears are actually carnivorous, so they will drop out of trees and drop onto people. Well, not usually people, sometimes, but they'll drop onto, wombats. Wombats, another sort of a big, round, fat Australian animal that waddles its way through the bush. Drop bears will drop out and attack them, and obviously you can see it's got some fangs. It's eating I don't know what that is in the top right, and we'll get a sign there. So, and then the other thing too is like sometimes every now and then there's a story about some backpackers from Europe, Bulgaria sometimes, when these things drop out out of the tree and land on them. It gets pretty dangerous. So be careful if you ever go to Australia of drop bears. Now, what I'd like to do, because I think this makes it more interesting, is tell you exactly what you're going to get out of today. Because that's really, I want you to pay attention, but ultimately you have to implement these ideas. And if you do, you can increase your sales by 10 to 25%. So if you're doing, let's say, €1 million in sales, you're going to be able to increase by 100,000 to 250,000 euros, not dollars, in the next 12 months. Okay? So people who think that email marketing is dead because you're sick of getting spam, no one likes getting promotional emails for the most part. And no one likes checking their emails. We log in the morning when we're in bed, and it's stressful because you've got an email from your boss and an email from a few friends and an email from some person who hates you, and it's terrible. But, and therefore some people assume that email is completely dead, it's not going to work, social media is the way of the future. But email consistently outperforms, as we'll get into, everything else. And the clients that we work with, the companies that we've spoken to, pretty much all of them generate somewhere within this range. So 10 to 25%. That's the idea that I want you to focus on. And now if you want the slides, I know you're probably taking notes here, or some people are going to be taking notes. I'm going to give you the slides at the end, so you can go and download these, and then you'll have the rip sheet, so you can just run through and look at, oh, here's the campaign, let's implement that. Now, before I get into it, I thought I'd be quick, just touch base on who I am. I'm the CEO and founder of Reengager. We are a company that provides a sort of a service and a software that does email marketing for e-commerce companies that basically helps them increase their sales by 10 to 25% with the different campaigns. Also got a podcast called the McMethod Podcast. Right now, it's probably up around 300,000 downloads. Interviewed 130, I think it's around 130 now, of the world's top marketing experts, like copywriters, email guys, content people, some really, really amazing marketers. It's all free. If you just go look that up in Google, you actually find it. Best-selling author. We took that podcast and just basically summarized each episode into a list of actions that you can take. So try to make it really actionable, because that's what I'm big on. And put that into a book, put it on Amazon, and it was a bestseller in a week. Within, I don't know, a few days or a week of uploading it. And through our programs, we've probably trained, I think, 300, 400 copywriters in the last few years. And some of these guys have gone off to quit their jobs and become freelancers. Some of them have gone to start their own businesses or double their existing business. Some really great stuff. And it's a result of all this, been featured in a lot of different places, including Entrepreneur, Shopify, and Forbes. So that's me. I've been in email marketing for about 3 or 4 years now. Not always in e-commerce email, but more or less focused on email the entire time. And this is really where what gets me excited about email. That email, obviously you can read it, email beats just about everything for ROI. And this wasn't from 10 years ago. This is 3 months or 4, maybe 6 months ago. So this is talking about it beats, on the next slide you'll see that it beats social media, display ad, website and display ad efforts combined. So if you're not sending many emails, you're missing out. So that reminds me, let's put your hand up if you send a lot of email for your company, or if your company sends a lot of emails. If you send put your hand up if you send up, or keep your hand up if you send lots of automated emails. So not just broadcasts and sort of promotions each week. Put your hand up if you send a cart abandonment series, a welcome series, some kind of nurture series. So a couple, cool. Now let's see, let's go deeper, because this is one of the examples. Let's say cart abandonment. Typically you got to, we'll get into the sort of the details of what this is in a second, but cart abandonment is typically you're going to have see one email that goes out for it. Maybe 2 or maybe 3. Put your hand up if you have 3 emails in your cart abandonment sequence. I think we got 1, right? Yeah, 2 maybe. And so the example I'm about to show you actually, this company does 7. They have 7 emails in their cart abandonment sequence. And it's not all in one series, as you'll see. It's basically split up into a bunch of different, a couple different campaigns. So, and I want to keep coming back to this number, because 25%, in the same study, in this research, 25% said, about 1 in 4 people said that email marketing drove at least 25% of their sales. So the question is really this: is email marketing right now 25% of your company's total revenue? Because if it isn't, then like I said a few minutes ago, there is a huge opportunity for you to, whether you run the email marketing at your company, or maybe you're in a different department, maybe it's someone on your team's job, whatever the situation is, you're going to be a hero if you can come in and kind of show them how they can actually leverage email to generate revenue. So, well, this was interesting. This is a great quote I love, that email's really about having an army of salespeople that go out and sell to your customers. But it's not as simple as just blasting out emails. That's what they did, back 10 years ago. It's really about personalized email today. Personalized everything, to be honest, which is what Vaida will be speaking about later. But this is really where it's at. You have to personalize these emails. It's not enough to just send out a broadcast, send out a promotion every Monday, or maybe even every day during the week. That'll work, but you're going to damage the list. You're going to damage the long-term relationship with them, and it's going to burn out. It's not really a long-term sustainable strategy. Now, here's where what I find fascinating. This is really why I started Reengager. Like I said, I've been doing email, everything with email marketing, email copywriting for about 3 or 4 years. And what's been astonishing to me is how few online retailers and e-commerce companies get this. And I'm talking I've spoken to companies that are doing $20 million in sales, and they don't send any emails. And so they're literally leaving millions of dollars on the table because they're not sending emails. They're not sending these campaigns. So I think despite the fact that email seems relatively simple because you just send out an email, it's really not that complex. It's not a huge buzzword that's been around for 15 or 20 years. Despite all of that, email is still a really, really good way to drive sales. So here's a typical blast from an e-commerce company. It's obviously on Black Friday. It's got a discount. We've got, by all means, there's nothing too particularly wrong with this. But the problems, and this is what I'll be talking about today, is it's one-to-many, which means it's one email that's been sent out to 5,000, 10,000, 100,000 people. And on Black Friday and Cyber Monday, it's not really it's not going to be a big problem because that's what happens on that weekend. But for this example, I think that most of the time you don't want to be just sending out an email to everyone at once. This does depend on what market you're in, but basically the idea is not everyone on your database is going to be interested in everything you want to sell, unless you only sell one product to one very specific type of person. And even if you only had one product, you could still segment up your database and change the copy, the subject line, and the copy in the email to suit 3 different core demographics within that database. So this is about discount. Discounts are great, just don't, in this case, it's a bit boring because everyone else can do it. And when everyone's doing it, it's no longer special, which means that you have to, this is business fun, business 101. You have to be able to differentiate yourself, not just with your, obviously your USP, your unique selling proposition, what makes you different as a company, but also in the way that you market yourself. And everyone's doing this. So they're doing this, right? One message to everyone at once, instead of this. One message to one person. And I think what's interesting with technology right now is the tracking and analytics and all this stuff gets more and more sophisticated. We're going to see more and more of this, where Amazon's got this stuff dialed down to a T. When you visit their site, everything's customized to what you've visited, the things that you've already seen, all the things they know you're interested in. And it's only going to become more and more like that. And so I think that the companies that get on board with this sooner, they're going to have an advantage. Because a lot of people are thinking, this isn't that important. We'll just blast out our emails. We make a lot of money that way. That works. So let's get into the actual campaigns. I've got 3 case studies to share. They're all slightly different. And this one's from envelopes.com. And it's about how their cart abandonment strategy gets more than double the typical improvement of a cart abandonment email campaign. So according to the Baymard Institute, 67%, that's 2/3 of online shopping carts are abandoned, which I think is crazy. So if you've got, we should run some numbers. If you've got, let's get back to that example. If you've got €1 million in sales per year, or $1 million lev, or $1 million, whatever, you've got $1 million a year coming in that's going through that checkout. That means you've also got 2 million, 2/3, so you times that by 3, 2 million people are abandoning their $2 million worth, abandoning that cart, walking out the door. And now this is where cart abandonment recovery comes in, and you can do this with optimizing the shopping cart and that. But one of the great ways, one of the easiest, fastest ways to recapture some of that revenue is to start sending cart abandonment emails. And this is what people do. This is why I asked this before. Now the way this works, in case you don't know, cart abandonment is where someone adds a product to the cart, visits the shopping cart, so they click, view shopping cart, they go to payment, they start putting in their name and email address, and they click, maybe they do that on the step 1 using Shopify or something like that, and they click step 2, and on the next page, they've got to pay, but right at that moment, their internet dies and the Wi-Fi, because that's what the internet always does at that perfect moment, it just drops out. Or maybe their daughter comes running up to them and says, "Daddy, I need some, maybe some breakfast or something." Now they get distracted and they leave. And this is why you've got 2/3 of people abandoning. But typical cart abandonment rates, when you, with emails, this is what we've seen with clients, this is what, all the companies that we've worked with, it's usually somewhere in the vicinity of 5 to 15%. So if you're losing, say, 2 million a year to cart abandonment, you're going to be able to recover, what's that, 100 and, on the low, let's just say 10% to make it easy, you're going to recover 200,000 per year with a simple, relatively simple 3 email cart abandonment series. But what envelopes.com did, they destroyed it. So it's almost like 4 times, really, 3 or 4 times the cart abandonment, the typical cart abandonment rate. And how this works out. They did it over 2 years. They already had a relatively low cart abandonment rate, so I think they've got a highly optimized sort of shopping cart process. About 40% compared with the average of like 5 to 15%. So crazy stuff. Now the question, and really what I want to share today, is how did they actually do it? How did they crush the industry average? And I'm going to keep coming back to this again and again and again. Personalization, right? Instead of sending only one trigger, they sent to 3. And the first one was category abandonment. So this is, someone says, they visit a category on envelopes.com. In this case, you see with this email, it's square envelopes, if you can't see that. So the copy says, you've got your subject line, thanks for visiting. The headline then says, thanks for shopping. Okay, so it's addressing the fact that they were on the website. You've got, thank you for visiting envelopes.com and for your interest in square envelopes. So this email is going to someone who has visited envelopes.com and has been on the square envelopes page. And they know this, they can track this because they already have their email address. And it's all personalized based on that. So we've got square envelopes on the right, the image, so it makes it more relevant. And then we've got obviously some call to action saying shop now, and down the bottom it's things like shop envelopes by size, by color, or by style. Now, this is highly personalized because you only really get this if I visited, if you visited a square envelopes category, you'd get this email and saying, thanks, you're obviously interested in square envelopes, otherwise you wouldn't have been on that page in the first place. So, go and buy some. Okay? So this is what envelopes.com did. You could probably dial this up a little bit by maybe adding some kind of offer. I don't know if a discount would be the best idea because a lot of people are going to try and get these discounts, but maybe free shipping, or it's a good chance to highlight maybe the benefits of shopping with you instead of shopping with your competitors. So that's step one. And this is just one email. And you can actually duplicate this. If you wanted to put this on steroids, you could actually duplicate this and put it on, send it out to people who visit certain products, or even someone who visits your careers page if you have one. So, one email, category abandonment. The next one, shopping cart abandonment. This is not like typical cart abandonment. The typical one's the next one, which is really called checkout abandonment. Because you've got two things that's happening. When someone adds a product to their cart, they're going to visit the checkout, they're going to put in their name and their email address, and then they're going to go to step 2, and they're going to abandon before they complete payment. Some people, though, are just going to add something to their cart and leave. Like, I'm going to go to Amazon, and I'm going to add 3 books to my cart, and I'm going to completely forget about my cart that I was even shopping in the first place, and I'm going to leave. So I've never actually visited the checkout, I never filled anything out, I never added my email address. And if you have their email address already, which if you're doing a lot of repeat purchases, you will, because they're going to end up on the site from a promotion, you can send a shopping cart abandonment. So this is someone who visits the site, adds products to their cart, but leaves before they add the product to their, before they visit the cart. Okay? In this case, it's 3 emails. So it's slightly, a little bit more aggressive. There's no promotion, there's no like free shipping or discounts or anything like that. They're just emphasizing, obviously your cart misses you, so a bit of personality in there. Just a friendly reminder, there are items in your shopping cart, please visit us soon, and so on. You've got a call to action and then an empty shopping cart on the right. It's relevant, and then we've got the product down below. Okay, so, this is really simple. This is not rocket science. This is like sending 3 emails out to people. And the next one is the standard. Very similar to the last email, but this one's for people who've been to the cart, started the payment process, but then left. They haven't finished. So forget something, another empty checkout. Very similar. This is 3 emails again. Now, you're going to be able to, I would probably send these emails out, one in the first probably hour or 2, so an hour or 2 after they abandon. Another one maybe 24 to 72 hours after that. And then email 3 would go out up to a week later. So how many emails? This is why I asked this before. How many emails are in your abandonment strategy? Because if you've only got, 2 or 3 or none, there's some really big opportunities here. And this, like I said, this doesn't have to take a long, long time to set up. You're going to get the slides. You can download it. You can literally copy these emails or translate it into Bulgarian, and then copy that and roll that out. Now, another idea that I want to keep coming back to in this is it's about buyer intent, because this is partly about the campaigns that you're going to set up. It's also very much about the specific campaigns, but perhaps the more important thing is understanding buyer intent, okay? So this is like learning how to leverage, knowing what emails to send out when. So when I say buyer intent, if someone visits a specific category, they're obviously interested in that category. in that product. Otherwise, they wouldn't have visited it. So in that case, we're capitalizing on the fact that they're interested in that. So here's what you should steal. So that's it. Also, we've got checkout, abandonment, category-specific abandonment, shopping cart, abandonment. So like I said, find the buyer intent. So this is really, just have a think, what steps, what sort of behavior are people doing on your website, in your emails, even elsewhere, that you can track and then trigger campaigns based on. So like I said, this is like cart abandonment. This is things where you could find out if someone visits your careers page. This is probably, I don't know how relevant this is, but if someone visits your careers page, you can then go, oh, they must be interested in a job with us. Let's take them off our promotions and let's send them an email about our current listings. So you're just finding the intent and then sending emails to it. All right, so case study number 2, Bonobos. How to send less emails but generate more sales. So I'm curious here actually to find out who, it sounds like a lot of people here sending out emails and broadcasts and stuff like that. But how many people here, or how many companies here send out, segment their database and send out, promotion to a specific group of people? So a handful. Okay, because this is really what this is about and the benefits of it. Bonobos, this is actually a really great site to write down if you're ever creating many emails. Reallygoodemails.com. It's not ours. It's done by MailChimp, and just a huge swipe file. It's basically a collection of emails from companies everywhere, and you can search it by keyword based on what what type of email you're looking for, and grab it. Bonobos have some cool emails too. So this example, we've got one email, 2 groups, 2 different groups of people, and their daily grind shirts. Group 1, 0 targeting. So this is just sending out a blast to everyone on the whole list. Right? Group 2, we had specific targeting. So this is sending out to people who are, let's say, most likely to buy, or just looking at segmenting out that database like we just talked about. Because the question is, which group generated the most revenue? The last time I did this, actually, I like asking this question of, like, what do you think? Put your hand up if you think the group, because basically we've got two groups here, right? Group 1, no targeting, but lots more, there's many more people in the group 1. So way more people in it. Group 2, way less people, but it's just more targeted. So which group here, if you think it was group 1, 0 targeting, but lots of people, put your hand up. I guess a couple, yeah. And group 2, specific targeting. All right, so we're on the right track. But, yeah, you'd be right. So, but not only that, this is 4 times greater, which I think is crazy. You can segment out the database. It's not like it's going to give you a small little bump. We're talking 4 times more. So here's what you should steal. Instead of emailing everyone, send to people who are most likely to buy. This, again, goes back to, similar to cart abandonment. It's the same mindset, this idea of sending out to buyer intent, sending out to people who are most likely to be interested in what you're selling. Now, your database will be healthier and you'll make more money. Because what's going to happen when you do this is you're going to find that when you're blasting out to everyone at once, the same thing to everyone every single time, you're going to lose a lot of engagement because people get sick of you. They've heard you. You're sending out an email to for a women's product, and you've got a bunch of men on your database. You don't care. So they'll start to tune out. So if you start segmenting out your database, you'll also increase the long-term value of that database. And you can segment by so many different ways. So gender, age, algorithm, interest, anything that you can use. That you can capture as a piece of data based on page they visited. Interest might be, if you don't know what they're interested in, you can start doing things like, if they visit specific categories, you could tag them as a specific thing. So if they visit, like if you're a sporting goods store and you sell, footballs and basketballs and all that, if they visit your basketball category, you could set up a thing in your email software to tag that person as basketball. And the next time, in 2 months' time, when you're running a basketball promotion, you can then send it out to your basketball people.
We have just dispatched our system administrator.
This is awkward.
He's getting into the system right now. System administrator has fixed the situation.
The laser doesn't work either.
The laser is not working. Is it batteries? Could it be batteries? We're yet to figure out. Does someone has Duracell? No? Yeah?
Duracell? We can probably... I'll just spacebar it.
The drama is...
Alright, so what do I say to make you slide? Go like this? You got the whip?
Now, we have the human remote control right there, and we're ready to resume right now.
What's that? You don't want to get a whip out on stage, do you? Like,
no, I'm just saying that we have the human remote control
okay.
In the situation.
Okay. Might be a bit weird if we get the whip out, yeah. Yeah, that's good. And then I'll whip you, yeah. Personalization. So this is it's very hard to control this now, you know. It's weird. I don't know how I feel about this. The personalization. The reason I had this slider, it keeps coming up, is so this is really what it's about. You've got to think about it this way. Amazon. So this is case study number 3, how Amazon drives billions of dollars in sales by using personalization in their email marketing. So here we go. We got so a variety of different emails from Amazon. Welcome, receipt, browse. These are all different, various, you might call them life cycle marketing. Now, let's go. Welcome. Good, yeah. So here's the number one reason you need a welcome email. I think this next slide is pretty, I think this is crazy. This is very impressive. Yep. So welcome emails generate 3 times the transactions and revenue compared with regular promotional emails. I've left a link here for the source if you want to check it. But I think this is crazy. So if you're sending out promotions, every week, maybe you're even segmenting, things like that. Welcome emails. This is the welcome email when someone signs up. They might visit your website and they sign up for a 10% off coupon. When they visit, you send them an email that says, hey, here's your 10% coupon, click here to go and use it. And 3 times. Pretty badass. So this is Amazon's. Very simple. They don't know much about you yet. If you were, this is just, because Amazon's a store that sells everything, it's very hard to personalize this too much. So we've got orders, payment settings, and then a call to action down the bottom. So very straightforward. This one's interesting because it's from Huckberry, which is a clothing and apparel brand. So obviously it says welcome, so it's addressing the fact that they just signed up. Now it's saying, giving them a little bit of information about how Huckberry works. So each week we partner with leading urban and outdoor brands to bring you so on. Sets the stage by saying sales begin on Tuesday and Thursday, typically last 7 days. And then to make them stand out, in addition to unique products, you're also going to find original content and so on. So they're basically setting the stage, really doing some brand indoctrination and explaining how Huckberry works. And so you see emails like this where down the bottom they've got some things for the shop we can go and buy. You can add promotions in there. Here's one from, go back. Yeah, there you go. 10% off coupon. This is what I'm talking about, from Overstock. So you sign up, 10% off coupon, here's your welcome email. This email is really straightforward, really simple, but it really works. And now we've got some other ones. So this is just some of the emails that are going to be going out after you make a purchase. Because this is interesting, right? When a customer buys, usually they sign up, they buy a product, and then they never get any emails from you after that. They just get your promotions every week, which is cool, and it's great to send out those promotions because repeat customers will keep spending money with you. What you should do as well is there probably should be a welcome email for your customers, again, with a promotion. And then you've got these other emails, which are all chances to upsell them, do some more brand indoctrination, which is really just about making sure they understand why you're different, why you're special, and so on. So let's check it out. So this is great. 75% more profits. So if you're doing €1 million and you want 75%, 750,000 more profit, you have to increase customer retention by 5%. So just keep 5% more of your customers. And this just means, obviously, making more purchases. Oh, sweet, we got another whip. Thanks. Cool. Good job. Thank you. Huh? Did I turn it off by accident? That's cool. You can see I've done this before. So increase customer retention by just 5%. yeah, make your customers buy, just make them buy again. And the way to do that is just to ask them to buy again. It's really simple. Here's how Amazon does it. It's an order confirmation email. This is your receipt that every company is already sending out. But you can optimize this and put product recommendations in there. It should be actually down a little bit. These product recommendations here. Then we've got another email from them saying, Amazon has new recommendations for you based on what you bought. So I think at that time I was reading a lot of stuff about health, because you can see all these, in defense of food, just basically relevant stuff. Think related products. This is Amazon doing the whole, people who bought this also bought that, so I'm probably going to be interested in it. And what's interesting too is 5 years ago, 10 years ago, this stuff was expensive. This is like software or technology that only big companies would be able to afford. But now it's just getting cheaper and cheaper, like more and more affordable for everyone, which means there's no reason not to be doing customized product recommendations based on some of this stuff. So it's just some ideas for this, for your customer sequences. You can send out, you got a welcome email. What we would usually do with the client, we'd have a welcome email in there. There'd be another brand indoctrination email, which is where we basically go on about how awesome we are, and so the customer actually knows that. There's going to be a product review request, so asking them to leave a review on the product. It can be a shipping notification, so when the product gets shipped, a few things like that. And then some follow-up promotions. Okay, so after your 4 or 5 emails, you have an automated promotion that's just in that sequence that people just get and get automatically every time. And so you're going to be generating revenue on autopilot. Doesn't mean you don't send your other emails, but this is another great way to generate sales. And the final one, and this is very similar to the category abandonment that envelopes.com were doing. So in this case, visiting the pet apparel department, they're saying, hi, are you looking for something in our pet department? If so, you might like these items. Look, it's a really simple email. It's just like you saying, hey, Dave, I noticed you were, looking at my, when a friend comes over and visits you at your house, for example, and someone starts looking at your movie collection. You say, hey, if you want one of those movies, just grab it, take it, it's yours. That's an example of that. Very simple. So here's what you should steal. Obviously, you got a welcome email, customer sequence, like I mentioned. And just really make sure you've got that browser abandonment set up and targeting people by interest. That may mean getting some new software. That may mean investing some more time into this area. But again, it comes back to this 25% thing, that you could generate anywhere from 10 to 25% of your sales via email. It's not going to happen unless you do it. So we come back to this idea, find the buyer intent, you could do this even just thinking about it, having a sort of a casual, you sort of sit down with yourself and figure out when are people demonstrating that they're interested in stuff, and then sending emails to them. So I've left this in here. This is actually how we break down the various emails you can send out. Like I said, this will be in the slides. So you've got really 3 stages. Interested is when someone's signed up or they've become aware of your brand, and but they haven't purchased yet. So that's where you send out your welcome email, your lead nurture, and promotions. Now the goal of stage 1 is to get them to buy something. The goal of stage 2, engaged, that's after someone's bought something. And the goal there is just to keep them buying, keep them opening, keep them clicking emails, keep them buying stuff. So we've got things down there, things like transactional emails. This is your shipping and order confirmations, cart abandonment, new customers, repeat customers. You could probably have a couple different, one sequence for each of those people. Renewals. So if you're selling supplements that expire or that run out after 30 days, you can have an automatic trigger that goes out 30 days later that says, hey, your vitamin D is about to run out, buy some more. Upcoming events, special promotions, birthdays. If you can find out their birthday, send them a birthday email, give them a discount. And then lapsed. So this is one that a lot of people don't, a lot of companies don't know about. This is where people over time are going to stop buying. They're going to stop opening emails, maybe because you sent too many broadcasts, too many sort of promotions out. You're sending emails about women's shoes, and you've got all these middle-aged men on there who don't care, and they stop opening your emails. So then you send them. They fall into this stage 3 lapse. The goal then is obviously to get them to buy again. And the way to do that is send out a re-engagement campaign, which is where you say, hey, we miss you. We'd really love to have you back. You can be really funny about it. You can have a sad face from a puppy or a baby or something to make them laugh. Do a lot of different things. So same stuff. Well, now, yeah, let's recap. I think I'm just about done. 3 most important actions. What I like to do is just, you might have a lot of notes or a lot of different ideas after this. So I like to just simplify it. If you're only going to walk away and do 3 things, it'll be these 3 things. Abandonment. Set up the campaigns that envelopes.com has. Send more emails to people who are most likely to buy. The gender, age, hobbies, algorithm, and send a welcome email. And there's probably more than 3 things if you actually measured it, but and build the customer sequence. So I've added some resources in here as well, some links that I use. There's some posts in here. The last few months have been really interesting. We created a couple content pieces for the Shopify blog. There's one on a site called Digital Marketer, which is more like a small book at this stage of 15,000 words of content on sort of like this, but a lot longer, a lot more in depth, and that'll give you everything, sort of a step-by-step, blow-by-blow, how to settle this up, what software to use, what copy to write, and some really lots of examples. So these links are all in the slides, which you'll get. There's another article in there, How Amazon Dominates E-commerce with Email. That's from GetVero, and that's another great software platform, and they've got some cool, great blog posts on that as well. If you can't do that, email software can't do that, that's where we come in. So we obviously, like I said, Re-Engager, we help e-commerce companies set up these campaigns. We do it's everything. It's the strategy, it's doing all of the, obviously, design, copy, software implementation, from top to bottom, completely done for you for a monthly fee. There's no long-term subscription. You get to send all these campaigns. So, and what I usually like to do is offer a free 30-minute consultation if you're interested, where we can go dive into some of these concepts, some of these ideas, and look at what they would look like for your company. You can get that at reengager.com/EC. And if you want the slides, same page. That's it.
Woo! All right, we're running a little short on time, so we're only going to have time for one question, and then you can go and talk with John. All right, he was first. I'm sorry. Democracy.
Well, my question is a bit complicated. I'm one of those guys who has actually clients who spend millions of dollars and don't recollect their abandoned cards. And the general problem that we see there is that there are some tools like MailChimp who are really easy to set up and so on, but they don't really have the flexibility. And then there's the enterprise, which costs upwards of $100,000 per year. So what tools do you use, and how do you actually set it up on a technical level?
So there's a lot of companies out there that are coming that will provide this, so that, like almost like a happy medium. Like it's not as cheap as MailChimp, it's not as expensive as enterprise. You need to get one of them is Klaviyo. We've used a lot with clients. It's Klavio. Never heard of it? No? So you can do it with Klaviyo. You might be able to do it with Vaida's software. I mean, there's a lot of these companies out there where you're going to spend, instead of hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, you might spend maybe tens of thousands of dollars. So it's a lot more reasonable. And you keep in mind that like if you're looking at like increasing sales by 10% by setting some of this stuff up, or 40% in that case, it's pretty easy to justify.
All right. Thank you so much, John.
Thanks for having me.
Really amazing presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.